Yikes, it's been busy today. So next on the production line, I don't want to say that. Familiar friend, been here before. This is Hugh's Westone Concord II. Is it a 2? Yeah, it's a 2, Westone Concord II, that I refretted for him and set up, and it's a beautiful battered old thing, but it plays beautifully and it has that lovely Matsu or whatever it's called, you know, made in Japan, that place. It's great, and he says he plays it most of the time now, which I'm not surprised at because it's a beautiful thing, and it's got that lovely ice cream cone, mint ice cream colour, whatever. Anyway, so the thing we're doing with this is we are going to give it a fresh pickup. So we have a rails type of thing here, and that's going to go in there, because I think, like me, when he's playing, Hugh wants to reach for a kind of humbucker sound. That's what he wants, and currently hasn't got the kick that he wants, so everything else we're just going to leave well alone, and we're just going to change the pickup. So it's it's a relatively quick wiring job. Quick, well, we say quick, but what are we talking about here? We're talking about a 4-wire humbucker, and we're talking about wiring it into here, into the system, but there's also the possibility of probably a high likelihood of out of phase conflicts, so we might get an out of phase tone out of it, in which case we have to be kind of ready to dive in and change it back, or change over the polarity. So that's, I've got to keep that in mind. I'm going to put new strings on this. It's just sort of the way I like to do it. There doesn't seem any point bringing in something for a fairly big change and then just putting the old strings back on. So this is getting new strings as part of the thing. It's got brass saddles on it, which is cool. Vintage, nice, fully corroded looking things. And there we are. Strings off. We're not going to adjust anything in the setup, so it's just going to go back exactly as it was. I think these are 9s. I'll just double check to be absolutely sure. Not the same feeling. 42s. There we go. I've been cruising along today, and you might be able to see that my hands are amber stained because I've just stained the ash Strat that I'm making for myself. But it's a kind of prototype, so I say myself, and that's where it's starting out. It's going to have Fender noiseless pickups. It's probably the biggest pickup treat I've ever given myself, so and no way is my playing up to or equal to that kind of quality of pickup, but what the hell, I thought I'd give myself a little treat. So I'm going to have a look back under here. I've been here for a while. Also, I've got to remember that we have to take out the we need to unhook these bits as well. We could do it in situ, but do you know what? It's just a pain. So I'm actually gonna cut these off here, because we've got enough room, have we? Yeah, we've got enough room. And I'm going to put this back in afterwards. Now this I'm going to cut here too, and we'll hook that back on as well afterwards. Oh, it's full of glorious vintage mojo dust. Look at that. Great little shape guitar. I mean, when I first saw it, I didn't think I would like it, but it grew on me very quickly. And before you knew it, I was in love with it. Now this is an ancient kind of switch in here. You probably would better get you on the low down. Now I'm not going to rush or do anything. This is not a snappy, as you know, this is not a snappy how-to video. This is me doing what I would do and the pace I would do it. Right. So if it's not to your liking, i.e. it's too damn slow, then take a damn hike and in the best will in the world go find something more suitable. But you know, I'm not a fast wirer, and I like to think my way through so I know exactly where I am and what's going on at every step of the way. So we've got a wonderful oldie worldy switch here with a kind of like a watchmaker spring in it type of thing. It's covered, absolutely covered in fluff. So really, first thing of all, I'm going to get in there with that. Well, maybe. First of all, this does need a bit of shooting with various contact cleaner stuff. Now I just did that a minute ago with another guitar, and I put the contact cleaner up there, and I used. Now I've lost it. I used a little bit of shrink wrap hose stuff to squirt the goo into the right place. Now I've now put it somewhere, and I don't know where. It could be in here, but I doubt it. While we're at it, we're going to need our this, that. My wire box is always underneath the table, so it gets absolutely full up with. Yeah, I'll use a bit of that. Absolutely full up with every bit of wood shaving and dust that gets fired about. Okay, so just as a start point, I don't know exactly what the chemical composition of this stuff is. This, I mean, it probably tells me here, but what I guess I mean is I don't know the full implications of what this stuff does if you happen to get it onto your finish. I'm pretty certain it will melt certain kinds of, the solvent in here, I should say, will probably melt certain kinds of lacquer. So, God, there's all kind of goo coming out of here. So I would highly recommend that if you use this stuff, you would do it away from the paintwork. I'm just now letting this soak through and doing some switching kind of work, because most of the time when you get switching problems like this, and this is an actual broken wire or something, most of the time your switches are just covered in a sort of thin layer of greasy dust. Like the stuff, if you run your finger along the very top of your kitchen units in your British kitchen, you will almost certainly find some ancient sort of airborne grease, basically, and it just, you don't see it, it comes from what you're cooking, but over the years it rather disgustingly accumulates in places you didn't expect to find it, and as a result this is the same sort of stuff, and it coats the contacts, and as a result the electrical contact gets weaker and weaker, and you end up with a sort of intermittent signal, really. Okay, so I'm gonna get a couple of little, I was going to say string trees, but that isn't the right word. Cable ties, just in case, because I want to keep these wires tidy, and cable ties are pretty useful. Cheap as chips, but there's just the kind of thing for sort of electrical housekeeping. Now, the secret, or the test of this, let's put that on, so that's not plugged in. We're going to have to decide what we're going to sacrifice. Well, let's try it in the end here. I don't know if this actually works anymore, but no, that one doesn't. How stupid that is, eh? I need that. I need you. You're the power thing. If I take you off, you'll conk out. Right. Damn. I need the light. Can I live without the light? The light's sort of important. Well, I'll have to live without the light because I need the soldering iron more. There we go. I've got a fair bit of light shooting around. You just sort of get used to it. Okay. So we're going to find out which goes where and just be sure. And I always like to go over the top when it comes to making sure I know what's going on. I hate to do anything and get caught out. So whereas some of you folks might just whip this thing out and it's all job done, I like to know what it's doing, and I like to know where things are going. So the first things is tracking where these little bits go. So we've got red from the neck, blue from the middle, and black from the bridge. So red, blue and black. I should write these down so I don't make any mistakes. It saves time if you get what I mean. So red from the neck, blue from the middle, and black from the bridge in this case. Black from the bridge. And so what we get is, I'll undo this little tag here, this little clip. Because we'll need to prise out one or two. Now they're wound around each other unhelpfully. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to unscrew the bridge pickup. Lovely cream, faded white colour. It's genuine age-related discoloration, which is really cool. Okay, so this is a bit nicely tangled in here to keep it tidy, but I get the reason for it. Okay, so first of all, we've got in this case the white is the ground, and that goes to there, and the black is the hot, which goes to there. So I've left a bit on there so I know where it is. Okay, so that's my way of kind of keeping track of things. Look at that. It's great, ceramic magnets. Naught wrong with that. Okay, so we've got this one here. Let's just check that it fits first. It's come with its own screws. We better use those. Now the thing we don't know about this is, and I'm not really sure if there's a clever way of tying it. There probably is, and it probably involves some clever person using something clever, like a micro, you know, whatever that thing is, tester, you know. And I don't really understand all of that much of the time. So it probably would do me a great service if I did know that, because it would save me trying this out, hooking it up, and then finding it needs to be the other way around. However, despite that, I always make sure, I always make sure I wire this in such a way that the alternative wiring that I might need, if it is out of phase, is easily accessible, because that sort of makes sense. Get on there. Right. So I'll just put these to very similar position anyway as the other ones. Get those out of the way for the time being. Right. So we have, as usual, we have a lot of wire that we don't strictly need, but then we're not hugely short of space either, so we can afford to bend this up and double it back. So on this one we have got pretty clear definition. We've got a coil pair, a split pair, is the red and green, and in this case we've got a white. So how do you draw white on a whiteboard? You don't. Let's transpose it for orange. So this one now becomes orange, which we know is white. And that goes up to this one here. Alright, so that's going to be our hookup place. Now we've got the pair here which we don't want to ground out or anything. We've got a combined earth and shield which we need to earth. And these are all pretty much ready to go. The one thing we probably want to do is just double this back on itself and tape it round, or put a bit of heat shrink stuff on it, heat shrink tubing. Now I've got an air gun, actually probably a hair gun is probably more correct. I've got a hot air dryer, which is probably a big kerfuffle to use, so when it's a simple little one like this, I often just put the soldering iron against it and run it up and down to get it to stay in place. This is actually, I picked a slightly narrow one. You picked to find time to lose one, Lucille. Oh, I've got to go back in at 7:10. We have got just under 10 minutes. Grab my food. This is, my wife is away visiting her oldest child, who is her daughter, up in Scotland, and she's recently, not long, discovered that she's going to be a mum. Not my wife, my stepdaughter, and so the baby's due in February. So Claire's gone up to see her, I think for the first time in just over, or a little over a year. Which is quite a long time, and it's the first time certainly since she's been pregnant. Holly, that is, not Claire. Anyway, I picked the wrong bleem one. Anyway, I'll get it stretched a bit more. Yeah, so she's gone up with her eldest son. She's got three kids, two boys and one girl, and she's gone up with the older of the two boys to visit his sister, and there's me and the younger boy still here. Can't quite get that to fit, which is annoying. Should have just gone in the bag and got some more wider ones out, but hell, I like the struggling against adversity thing. Stretching these without breaking them, that's quite fun. Anyway, yes, she's up in Edinburgh till Thursday. So I thought I would, it just so happened I had a load of stuff to do, got a load of stuff to do. I was hoping tonight to wire up or start or even complete wiring up Nick's custom build, because it's well overdue, that guitar now. It's all looking good. I just want to get over the sort of scary bit of getting it wired up and playing properly for the first time. I've played it as an acoustic instrument, but I wanted to get it done as a whole thing. It's been slightly delayed again because the damned, what was I waiting for? I was waiting for something to come in the post and it hasn't arrived. What was it I needed to arrive? Come on. There was a thing. Do you know what? Oh, it was the, it's not critical actually, but it was the, yes it was wiring. That's right, I had ordered some cloth covered wire and I wanted that to be here before I got stuck into that. Now this is trying to get this a little bit tidier before I put a clamp on this, and it's just sort of not being entirely cooperative. Let me just think, above the middle one, above that, there's not a ton's worth of room. I'm just wondering whether we're carrying around more wire than is necessary at the moment. Let me just rethink this. Now, it doesn't actually have the best light in here at the moment anymore, having switched it off. Down below there, there's more room directly underneath it, funnily enough. These are very flimsy attachments. So typically this would go over the top here. Nice kids screaming in the street. Let's just bring these together. Yes. So come on, pull through. Let's just get these tidied up. Thank you. First tidy. And then really we want to sight it above here to get it to fit in. That needs really to be like that. This probably wants to go around the side if it can fit underneath and between the pot. Yeah, will it? there's a lug under there that's going to prevent that. It's not really that complicated, but I'm just trying to keep things mostly out of the way. If I put that in there, that's going to just stop that moving as well, just from having too much. That could go under there. Okay, let's try just hooking that to that. Yes, anyway, so I've put that on the wiring of Nick's on hold because of that, the missing, or the delayed, what do you call it, cloth covered wire. Because the thing about that custom guitar is I have to be incredibly tidy with the wiring because there's so little room. In the cavity I've got a dummy coil for hum cancelling. Okay, so here are my the business end of the stuff. Now, if it comes to the fact that these are by default out of phase, this is out of phase, we'll hear a sort of, what will we hear? We'll hear a thin tone when this combination is selected. You won't have a combination of those two, so you'll hear it in cahoots with this one. So the simplest way to change the polarity would be to swap these two around. So for where we start, this is very delicate little attachments here on this vintage Hall guitar. I don't even think there are holes to go through. I think we're basically just sitting on, physically sitting on a little peg. So I will give it a little bit more landing goo to sit on, and then we will get our hot thing, and it's proving it's not the best tool, this. Oh my god. The trouble is, it's a piece of wire, a very thin piece of wire at the end of a very long rigid piece of wire, and it has a mind of its own as a result of that. So not the prettiest connection in the world, but it's solid enough. Okay, so there's our live hot seller. There's a kind of load of stuff on top of there, but I don't really want to mess up what's already on there, so I'd be just as happy to give me a new blob to work with. If you're doing my bidding. And then we will, so this doesn't really naturally want to go that way. Get that out of the way, please, thank you. I'm trying to transfer enough heat in here to melt this down without melting down any of the nearby wires. It's never that easy. Even this is running at 375 degrees. It's still quite a challenge to get it to melt and properly solder. There we go. Okay, so there we have those bits. Now we've also got to reconnect the jack plug output, which comes there and here. Well, typical. As you do that, you hold the thing and you end up pulling the shield off, the plastic cover off, and not the wire itself. Right. And then invaluable tool, which costs about 85p to buy or something ridiculous, is the solder sucker to get you a clean clean lug to get your wire stuck onto. Okay, so let's move that out of the way. So then, stay. Get this back, and we're going to just prep the ends of two of these bits. This is the bridge shield, bridge earth I should say. I'll put a little tiny bit of tin solder glue on that. I think my ash strat body that I'm made nearly, is really not going to need much more in the way of oil, so it's going to be kind of, I could be looking at putting the old pickups into the pick guard ready. Might even do that and get the pots in there while I'm at it, while I'm doing this, because that will feel like it's nearly there. And the body is indoors, and I'm putting a couple of coats of tung oil onto it, but it doesn't really need much. It's got that amber stain which picks out the grain quite nicely, and then the oil just sort of kind of seals it in. And it'd be nice to build up a few layers, and that's what I'm planning to do tonight, but next day or two it would be ready for its kind of hardware to go on. What I've done today is I also fret leveled it and reprofiled the frets, so the neck is hanging up there and it needs a polish out, but again that's fairly advanced in the process now, so it's looking good. Okay, so my two connections now with a little bit less room than we had before to play with, and so we've got to get all the way up to here, which is not going to be the easiest thing in the world. Okay, but it's also not the hardest of all. It's often just a case of how do you keep this thing in a decent position, because ideally you sort of want to come from behind this pot and onto there like that, but it's kind of definitely got a mind of its own. Right, let's load this up again actually, and then let's put this through here. I actually can't see very well at all. Okay, and then I'll just add a bit of fresh solder to there. And then I can't see in 3D with these glasses on, and it's not a very credible whinge, but for some reason maybe I need the extra bit of light that I've taken away. Right, so now I'm just getting this tacked to the common earth. Come on, do me a favour. Thank you. Cut off a little bit of excess. We've got that's the right way around now, and then we've got this to add in, which came off there originally. There's not a lot of room. Not really. I can't turn this round in any clever way. Now I'm constrained by the thing I just did. Perhaps I should have put that on first. There's always a way. It's nice to have a bit of extra, yeah, a bit of extra wire than not enough. come to the edge. Thank you. Stay there, please. Stay there. Thank you. Okay. So it's at the opposite side of that pot from where it started, but it should do fine. Now, the bit now is just making sure we get the wires into the right cavities. How can I even get it that far forward? Have I given myself a... Yep, I think I've made it just slightly... Yeah, I've done it. I made it impossible, like an idiot. Right. Okay, I'm going to redo this, unfortunately. In fact, I don't want to redo that because that's through to there, which is a bit of a pain. So I'm going to undo... I'm just going to redo the jack socket. Not like that, I'm not. Oh hell, I better go in and get my food. What's it saying? Yep, 10 past. I better stop or else I'm going to be sorry. I'll just take these other two out. Yeah, there's no point being sorry. Okay, so I'll come out and redo this in a minute. Turn that off for a second. Turn you off. See you in a minute. Holy cow, I've just been listening to more bloody Radio Brexit. Not allowed to say it. Don't mention it. Right. Okay, so I've given myself a proper extra long thingamajig here, and really that's the right way around. Right, okay, so let's get this. Get this up and out of here. God, I hate this little grabbing arm thing. So, so-called helping hands, anything but. Come on. Thank you. Thank you. We'll get there. Slowly. I've got my other regular glasses on now, so I'm probably not seeing in detail quite so well. Right, there we are. Get this safely out of the way again. You know what? The soldering irons are doing my head in. Right. More room. It's better. Out the way. Out the way. Out the way. Out the way. That's got to go inside there, which is a bit of a squeeze. Oh my goodness. I lost my plastic spiky thing. Get in there. Get under there, please. Thank you. Thank you. All good, all good. Right. Let's get some. Well, let's put a couple of screws in temporarily. Let's do a little test first. These are a bit worn out, these old pickguard screws, but they sort of suit the old gal. Right, let's get just a single string. No, I don't know where I put them. Aha, no, I do know where I put them. Well, actually some of these look a bit like classical strings. Come on, random string please. There we go, that'll do. Something quick and cheerful. Yeah, you know what I mean, quick and easy. Cheap and cheerful. No, fast and cheerful. Right, let's put this in the D hole. Well, that would be good if we could. Any chance of it going all the way through? You were joking me. What's going on? Thank you. Right, so the plan is just to give this a test and we'll listen out for whether we've got any out of phase tones going on. This string tree is a bit far down for my liking, but okay. Right, just chorusy sort of sound. None of that. Wow. Oh my Lord. I think I ought to just chuck away this cheap freebie cable. Some great knocks and holes in this thing. Wow, that's a big big jump, but I think that's good. I think we've accidentally hit on in phase. Yeah, and then of course for balancing the output, really, we can do a little bit of this and just take this. That's about as far down as it wants to go, actually. We end up hitting the bottom of the pickup route. So it's quite a way down. So our difference is good. Like it. Like it. I think that will do quite nicely. So we'll chuck away this string. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Just one use and throw away. Seems wrong, but that's how it goes. Okay. Well, you know what? We could turn that off, but we could leave it on, and then I could move swiftly on to wiring up my Fender noiseless pickups, which I might just do. I'm feeling a bit naughty. I want to see them come to life. But first we need to finish this. So let's get rid of some bits and pieces of stuff that's on the floor. That's very useful. That needs to be there. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. And take that away. Put it somewhere. Take it back to Hugh. Get rid of those for now. It's been a long, varied day, and I've also sprayed 2 guitars as well during today. This one and this one down here. which is very good too. Right, let's get some these back in on the least torque possible. Yeah, that's the only real main issue to keep a lookout for is when you're putting a different brand or different make of pickup into a setup like this, is that you run a 50-50 chance of it being out of phase, and if it is out of phase, then you literally have to swap the simplest wires round. So if it was a single pickup, single coil, one single coil pickup and one humbucker, then it would be as easy, or it might be simpler, to change the one of the two, or swap around the two wires on the single coil. That's probably the quickest way to reverse the polarity. But here, when you've got two that are the same, then it's probably easier to just change over the humbucker because there's only one. So what did we say? We were going 9s, didn't we? 9s. Did I take 9s out already? No, I've put some 9s on something else. Just so many guitars in one day. I'm going to have to go and buy some more strings, or else I'm going to get left whiz out. Right. Strap buttons are good. Sorry, you've got a lot of views of the guitar there, but that should be alright. So the only thing to do now is to put these back on, new strings on, stretch them out, and we'd be done on this one. And then the next one in Hugh's sequence is going to be the Westone. I keep thinking it's called Privilege, but it's not. Oh, it's Superior, or something like that. Gosh, I can't remember. Anyway, it's another Westone, and that needs a nut change. But I'm waiting for the black graphite nut, which I'm not a fan of those plastic graphite nuts, I have to say, because I find them very difficult to cut well. And if you know that what matters to me is getting the first fret action really, really precise, then a material that doesn't, in my book, cut well with whatever my tools and experience are worries me a bit, because I can either struggle to reach the right first fret action, because we're talking tiny little increments of difference, either struggle to reach the ideal first fret action, or can go very quickly past it without even God almighty, how does this thing go through here? Go past it and cut too low, in which case you've lost the nut, or either that or you have to shim it again, or shim it, which is a bit of a pain. Let me just check something here. I think I noticed these might have been loose. It's quite not uncommon for them to come loose, but maybe I was imagining things. It must have been. How strange. Okay, so while I'm here, right, while I'm here, I'm going to line up all the holes in the right, facing in the right direction. So I think if I might load the pickguard from my Ash Strat in a minute, and then after that I think I'm going to call it a day, but I may pass the late hours with the pleasure of putting some more oil on my Ash Strat body. I don't think it needs much really, it just picks out the colour and the grain beautifully, and sort of that's all you need. You could probably do one coat and go, one layer and go, but I think there's probably an argument for building it up a bit. So yeah, so tomorrow we'll be wiring up Technics custom build, and possibly along with that could be Hugh's Westone, other one. And then on top of that, after that, we've got a refret to do on Hugh's Cosmos. So he's got one of those Deathfield Cosmos. He's had about 3 or 4 of them. And this is probably one of the better looking ones of the ones he's had. And he had some pickups hand wound by the Kent Armstrong people, which he ended up not being very happy with. And I don't know if it's just a personal preference, but so he's given me some Telecaster pickups to try and sort of fit into the Cosmos, give it some more oomph, but he wants the original Deathfield Cosmos, sort of Russian style, actually Polish, but you know, Eastern European pickup covers left on. And it might be a bit of a challenge to put something else under there. I'll have to go underneath the covers and see how they're fitted. So it's a refret on that one, re-radiusing the board a little bit to make it match the bridge radius, and the bridges on those things are incredible. So we're going to sort of measure the bridge radius and see if we can recreate it in the fingerboard, refret it, and then have a look and see what we can do with replacing the pickups. As for the actual controlling wiring, apparently he said he had that done at Crimson Guitars, and it's got some, I'm not sure, it's nothing to do with them, but it's developed a bit of a wiring fault, so I have to hunt that down. But also, see if we can stop it crackling and doing its dirty pot stuff, which it was doing as well. So it's going to be interesting. They're quite confusing. The controls on those things really are odd. So there is a logic to them, but I don't recognise it in the one that Hugh brought back, or brought to me this time. So we've got the new strings on. I'm going to give them a good starter pull, get them bedded in, pull out any obvious slack, and then it'll just be a case of doing that a few times round to get all of the slack out, so that we've got as stable tuning as is possible. Right, get a bit more careful bending, because these are 9s and they run a bit of a risk of snapping on the top thinnest string if you pull them too enthusiastically. And then we'll do a bit of a thumb and forefinger bend as well. So the old trick of getting as much of the slack, actually not just as much, that sounds like a bit hopeful, getting all of the slack out of the strings before you get up and play, so you can enjoy it playing and staying in tune. Shouldn't take too long. One more stretch in this direction for now. That should be done. Lovely looking guitar. I wish I knew what the actual colour was called. It's not a TV yellow. I don't know what it is, but I would like to get that colour. Very cool. We're very close now. It's a gorgeous guitar. It really, really, really is. Hello, Yummy. Where's your wicked brother? You don't know? He's out playing. Tell him it's getting late. And summer's over and school tomorrow and he's got to be in. Well, maybe not. Right. Still. Plectrum 1. Right. I've got quite a few different guitars on the go. So I'm looking forward to finishing and playing. Right. God, it is beautiful. This thing is lovely. That's the humbucker and single together. Just, my nails are too long. Wow. Wrong way. Sound of those pickups, really do. So we've got good jump in volume. Don't know what the make of this is, by the way. The make of the rail, probably something like I wouldn't be surprised if it's not a Vanson. quick test and happy with that. In terms of tone, fantastic. Westone Concord II, an old friend. It's one of those that I would definitely hold on to that if I saw it come my way. It's a lovely thing. I didn't like it when I first saw it. I thought, oh, funny body shape, but you know what? It definitely grew on me. It definitely did. It suddenly occurred to me, by the way, let me just show you something. I put together a Westone the other day. I've lost it now. Bits. It's just buried under here. There was a Adam's Westone that he sent that I redid or rescued a little bit, and I had a box. See, this is why I've lost it. I had a box with all the Westone bits in it, which I need to find, and I put it somewhere, and then I wasn't going to use any of them again, so I wasn't too bothered about where they went. And anyway, so they went somewhere, as you can see. Here they are. It's like one of those films they blow some stage cinema dust off things. Yeah, so this was all the stuff I took off Adam's Westone, and so I kind of just got on with, you know, rescuing the body and forgot what I'd taken off it. I knew there was a bunch of Tesla active pickups, which were a bit too much for my kind of liking, having to have batteries and stuff. And then of course I forgot really a bunch of the things that I took off it, including knobs, including strap buttons, which I could have bleeding well used. Probably more importantly, including this plate, which I went and made a separate one altogether. And also, let me just see, I bet there's, is there any one? No, okay. I was looking in here because I thought maybe it came with the same plate as this one, but it certainly came with the string anchor point that this one has too. So that's what I remembered. You see? So that's why it's down there, string anchor point. Anyway, so yeah, I've got a whole bunch of bits to put to use, and it had some original Westone tuners on it, and I went and put something else on. Why did I do that? Because I'm a plonker. Anyway, and all the original wiring, very clever, complex stuff. But yeah, these active Tesla pickups, powered by 9-volt battery case, and including the everything that I basically recreated. But anyway, I don't regret it. I've redone it. But yes, that's what happens when you take things off, put them in a box, and then sort of deliberately forget about them. Even when you need the bits. Okay, so I hope that was useful, enjoyable or something. But yes, it's a beautiful thing. You need one of these. The neck is gorgeous, and actually just the sound of this, with this additional humbucker in the bridge, that's perfect. You know, it's the right colour, unbranded, but it sounds great and complements these single coils beautifully. That is just a guitar worth keeping hold of. One of those unusual beauties.